Well, off to a great start. Already missed 2 out of 5 video uploads, and well, I think I got some solid reasons for it, but anyway, I welcome you all to the next devlog of Brass Bull.
What happened, and why has my project progressed so little? Well, let me tell you. After the first week went pretty okay, I got my second video out and I had to spend Monday and Tuesday to finish a task for my job before October ended. Wednesday the 1st was overall pretty productive, even though I accompanied that day with a pretty fiery rant about working with Unreal as a beginner. But I learned a lot that day. For example, my whole possession system did absolutely not work as intended. Did you know that even with the run physics with no controller tick box enabled, the character still needs to be possessed by at least an inactive AI controller or they will just completely cease to function? Well, neither did I. And while that was going on, I was also feeling a cold coming up, which started to affect me on Thursday. Which by itself wouldn't have been too bad, but on top of that, an error caused me to lose my whole project. I just went home after that. I'm still not entirely sure what happened, but my project started to crash on startup, and even when I copied the assets to other projects, those crashed as well as soon as I interacted with them in any way, trying to open, move, or delete them there. Friday till Tuesday, I was mostly playing Minecraft and drinking liters of tea to get this cold out of my system. So, having learned from that, I made a repository on GitHub as soon as I got back to work. Lesson learned, I suppose. From Thursday the 9th to Saturday, I was attending my very first game jam, the Auswärts gespielt, that was held at our uni. It was great, and we made a small dialogue scene about spilled milk that threatens to fill up the room while the two other entities at the table get into more and more absurd arguments about whose responsibility it is to pick up the carton. The milk is climate change. And with all of that behind me, I finally returned to work on the project on Monday, and have since gotten back to the state of the project before the setback, and made progress on top. We got the mech. It can move, it can turn, it can die, or well, get deleted for now. The turrets work now, with smoothed input, which I also overhauled, only up to customizable angles. They turn back to their base rotation before leaving, and they can shoot. There is now a health component that I set up, that can interact with bullets and explosions and trigger actions on death or on reaching several thresholds of HP. Johanna can finally switch between positions by interacting with those blocks. And I put in some basic screen checks. On top of that, I think I got the setups right so I can easily replace my placeholders for actual measures and animations. Overall, I think I started to get way more comfortable with blueprints, and I finally understood how I can add and subscribe to events, which I was definitely missing before, and generally got a better grasp on referencing and communications between separate parts. So, what's next? First, I want to get a primitive enemy to work, which is a bit of a daunting task to start into next week, but judging by the sheer flood of game AI tutorials on YouTube, I think this will work just fine. Also, I want to further develop the destructible objects to implement some simple, basic level geometry, approximating buildings so I have some navigational challenge for the enemies. I also want to implement the two basic hazard types of cliffs, so instant death situations, and damage over time situations like magma pools you could walk through. I just call them magma pools for now, though I'm not sure what they will actually end up as. Could be electrified water, water in general if it maybe affects the bull's engine at a certain depth, or something along those lines. With that, I also need to work on an early implementation of death behavior for the player, so some time for animations and effects to play once 0 HP are reached and before fading to black or overlaying a menu. Speaking of menus, I also want to work on a very basic main menu to start from or fall back to after the player died, and just to have that in place for the future. And I think that should be enough for next week. Depending on the problems that might arise, even a bit much. We'll see. Once that is all working, I plan on blocking out a play area with hazards and enemy spawners to test features and get a feel for the damage values. Also, I can use that to let other people test the prototype. An issue that I noticed in my older projects is that we usually took way too long before we let other people play and collect feedback. And I don't want to fall into that trap again. I'll keep you all updated once there's something to play. And one last thing, a classmate gave me a nice tip to change the array that I use in my smoothed input system into a ring buffer to avoid unnecessary work on the computer side of things, which earned him the first spot on my Things Smart People Told Me list. I'm terribly sorry, but blueprints have no easy way to set up ring buffers, so that's on the backlog for now. If you spot any mistakes or bad decisions on my part here, I'm always open for more tips, feedbacks and criticisms. So, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you would do me the kindness, and see you all around.